It's Saturday and day 11 of marathon training, and we have a recovery day today. So nice and easy 6 miles. We have a new friend joining us on this run, Miriam. Welcome to the run. Hey Miriam, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
So I hear you're a pretty good basketball player. What do you like the most about playing basketball?
For me, honestly, it's more of like team bonding because I made a lot of friends on my team and I became really close with them. So it's more about that, and it's easier to like be a team on the court when you're a team outside of it. So
awesome. You know what I like about basketball players?
Like
they're all good at running.
They're all good at running.
All right, 3 miles down and heading back. It's very nice and pleasant recovery run. Loving it. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about how to find the right zones for pacing. And then what are the heart rates that match up to those zones? There are so many ways to assign paces and heart rate zones, and everybody's really different. I personally don't believe that normal human beings can touch max heart rate. I think experiencing maximum heart rate or 95% of max heart rate is left to the pros. People who have very strong will and a very high tolerance for discomfort and pain. And it takes a special kind of mind. And using the formula works really well for some people, like my big bro Denny. He uses the formula 220 minus his age. I think it's pretty darn close to what we think is his max heart rate. But if we use that formula for me, then my calculated max heart rate of 172 is actually my heart rate when I run whole marathons in about 3 hours. I like to assign pace zones and heart rate zones based on real race experience. And I find that it works the best, especially for amateurs who don't have the capability to push their body to beyond the brink of acceptable pain. One method I can use is to take my fastest mile time and then using VDOT guidelines, calculate the different paces that I'll train in, like interval, threshold, and easy pace. So if I can run a mile in 6 minutes, and that's the fastest that I can run that mile, then I know that my interval pace is around 6:30, which is 6 to 8 seconds per 400 meters slower than my mile pace. And I know that 7 minutes per mile is my threshold pace, because threshold is 6 to 8 seconds per 400 meters slower than my interval pace. And I know that my easy pace is 1 to 2 minutes per mile slower than my threshold pace, which puts my easy pace between 8 and 9 minutes. Another method is to use actual races. So I've raced actual 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, and marathons. And I have a lot of data. And guess what? Not only are the paces important, but amongst all that data, I have heart rate data for all those different races. I also have a log of what the course was like and what the weather was like during each of those races. Not only will fitness affect heart rate, but so will course and weather conditions. And then I analyze that information really, really carefully, along with my VDOT calculated paces. And I try to align a heart rate zone, a range of heart rate that makes the most sense for my current fitness. And then I try to push against that range ever so slightly during training builds so that I can move my graph to the right and avoid plateaus. And it's important to be flexible. My easy pace when I was in the middle of a marathon block last season is not the easy pace that I should be running at the beginning of this block. It takes time to build your body back up to where you left off in the past. And with regards to aerobic endurance, that change is on a cellular level. So the changes are very, very slow. You gain and you lose that ability very slowly over long periods of time. However, the changes that are associated with working at VO2 max are very short-lived, and you can start to experience a decrease in as little as 5 days. So at 13 weeks out from the Long Beach Marathon, we're focusing mostly on endurance with just a little bit of work at developing our ability to clear lactate. Next week, when we start week 12, we'll focus more on this ability to clear lactate and add more time in that zone. We'll wait until 8 weeks before the marathon to start working on our VO2 max capabilities, because we'll plateau out there at about 5 weeks. So get out there and race. Go out there and put in your best efforts. And then you'll have more data, and then sit down and look at all of your information. Then you got a chance at figuring out what your proper zones are as far as pace and heart rate. And don't forget, be flexible. Be willing to admit, to acknowledge that maybe I'm not as fit as I was a couple of months ago. Or be willing to let the weather dictate the pace sometimes. Then after you've ironed out all those numbers and you're pretty confident of where they lie, then start assigning qualifiers for your RPE, the way that you would describe how you feel during each zone range. That way you can go out and enjoy your run without the stress of looking at your watch constantly and checking data screens all the time. Sometimes I like just to be self-aware and take in the outdoors and my environment, or the conversation with a good friend. So I just want to say good luck to my friends Anita and Dragon in finding your zones so that you can get some momentum and ride that wave of improvement that's so addicting and satisfying. And we're coming into the 6th mile of this recovery run. Boy, I really needed this day. Ahrc has really taken a beating lately. On Wednesday, Evan imploded, and the last few days, Danny Hung has been struggling, and Cole got pancaked on yesterday's long run. The weather's changed, and unfortunately our habits haven't, and we haven't adapted to this new difficulty in sweating way more in hotter and more humid weather. I think I've been able to avoid the implosions while increasing my weekly mileage. I'm now going to hit around 80 miles this week, but I've been pretty OCD about doing all the extras, like hydrating early during the run. Even on runs where I know I can complete the run without carrying hydration, I still do it because I know that I will expel more moisture from my body after the run throughout the entire day. And sometimes I just can't replenish it at a rate that's adequate. I have also been taking gels earlier on runs in order to get calories into my body a little bit sooner and at a greater amount for the entire day. I've replaced some of my Diet Coke intake with electrolyte, and that's helped a bunch. So I've felt pretty fresh on all of these runs despite the heat and the extra sweat. I think it really has been working well for me, and it's definitely the biggest difference between me and everybody else in our club. So just a friendly reminder, please, please take care of your bodies. Your health is far more important than your running, just like my friend Murray says. I hope you have a great day and a meaningful run wherever you are. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.